Okay. We've got a few listeners in. If everyone can hear me, okay. Microphone seems to be working okay. If everyone can hear me, okay, can you put a little note down here just to say everything sounds okay? Okay, so I hope everyone can hear. This is my first live stream. I think the reason I started to do this was because I was having a few problems with the psychological side of trading. I think it's common. I think most people do. So I thought if I live stream and I can build up a few viewers, if you got maybe a dozen people watching you, you're less likely to do stupid, less likely to make some stupid mistakes. So that's my reasoning behind this. Plus, talking through what I'm actually seeing, I think helps me hear it a little bit clearer. So we'll give it a go anyway. So it says, I hope obviously got my system set up okay. This is the first time I've ever done this. So it says there's a couple of viewers in. So if everyone can hear me clearly, you can put a little comment. I'd appreciate it. Excellent. Jane, I appreciate that. Thanks very much. Okay, so as you've guessed, this is price action trading. This is basically max system. And I've been doing it now for about 18 months, this particular style of trading. And I believe I've got to a level where I can clearly see a good trade, but my issue is, I think, patience. My patience sometimes get the better of me, and I can come in at a trade that I probably should have left. Something in the back of my head is telling me I should have left. And when I take that trade, it sort of frustrates the hell out of me, and that's where I tend to come in and do a little bit of revenge trade. I jump back in at a trade just to try and get it back. So I'm working hard on that side of it at the moment. So hence the deciding to live stream. I thought if I've got somebody watching, then I'm less likely to make a stupid mistake. So that's my theory anyway. So I'm going to trade 3 days a week. Obviously tomorrow I'll trade tomorrow, but Thursday I believe the markets are closed due to Thanksgiving over in the US. As you can see, I'm not from the US, I'm from the UK. So I believe Thursday's out, but basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays from around about market open is the time I'll trade. So okay, fingers crossed, and let's see how the week goes. I did look at this second entry actually, but I'm a little bit nervous about taking them below the EMA. It's a little bit congested here. So I'm trying to control my patience and hopefully improve. That's the plan anyway. I think when you do this, when you trade, anybody who's ever traded knows how difficult it is, the psychological side of it, and you've got to constantly keep working. You've got to constantly keep working on it. I'm just zooming in a little bit here. I'm hoping for a higher high here. Maybe not. Maybe we're going down. See, that's a failed. That's a failed second entry long. But as we're moving up, I'm a bit nervous about taking that. Here we go. High. Let's
order submitted.
Okay,
order
looks all right
filled.
to me. Fingers crossed. Now I go for a minimum of 1-to-1 now. I tried doing I started on 1 point and I went to 2 points about 8 or 9 months ago. It was just a no-brainer for me. There was so much money left on the table. So I decided to go for 2 points. And then recently I've been watching the Penguin Trades guy. And he does minimum 1-to-1 and in some cases 2-to-1. And for me, this is not looking too good for me. I'm just going to give that one extra tick. No, I think I've misjudged this. No, it looks like we may get stopped out here. The only way I'm not going to get stopped out here is if that moves up and traps them shorts, but I don't think...
Stop filled.
Right. Oh, well, that's a shame. First trade, first live stream, and we're down, so I misjudged that one. Now, to me, that's an uptrend, and that's a bit of a break of an uptrend. I waited for a higher high, which triggered, but we've moved up here, but you know, we're quite likely going to be a bit of a range here. So we're probably at the top of the range and we're moving down. I think that's probably what's happened. That's a shame. That's not a good start. Okay, so I think we're going to have to look at this as a bit of a range. Yeah, Brandt, you've gone back to 4 to 6 ticks. I seem to be fair, I seem to have really good luck on 1-to-1 now. It hasn't changed my win percentage really. But if you look at good trades, there seem to be, you know, when I first went from 1 point to 2 points, I went through, there was a couple of guys on the Facebook site that I think Daniel was one of them. I think Daniel's one of the more experienced ones. I looked at his chart every single day for 2 weeks, and I think I counted somewhere in the region of 35 trades, and not one of those trades wouldn't have made 2 points. So it was a no-brainer for me, which is why I decided to go for 2 points. And then when I started watching the Penguin Trades guy, he was going for a minimum 1-to-1 and he seemed to do really well at it. So I think a good trade will make at least 1-to-1, I think, for most of the time. But, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? I suppose we all have our own way of doing it. We all have our own comfort zone. So that's a shame about that one. I thought that was a pretty good trade, but I think we probably got trapped there. I'm seeing this as an uptrend, and it is, but I probably got a bit too hasty in drawing the larger trend. We're probably going to be somewhere in the region of something like that, I think. And we've had a break, a couple of legs up to a new high, and then we're reversing. So I'm looking at this now as a bit of a range day currently. I'm probably going to get rid of that. I think that lulled me into a false sense of security. Anybody else taking advantage of the 80% off Apex at the moment? I think it's a good deal, that is. They seem to be having more and more of those, and I know actually if you take longer than longer than a calendar month, I think it rolls over as well. You get 80% off for the next month. So it's a pretty good deal, actually. I try to just, I mean, I've failed quite a lot of evaluations now. I'm fed up with throwing money away, so I tend to just take now the 80% off, 80% off, which is, well, in pounds, in UK pounds, it books out about £28, which is not a lot of money really. Yeah, Brant. Yeah, I suppose if you are trading more aggressively, better. The less ticks, the better. Really, I think you obviously up your chances. I tend to do minimum 1 to 1. I think the bit that started to move me from 1 point is when I started 18 months ago. I was doing 1 point because of the size of the bars now, 3-4 points. I mean, what are we at the moment? The ATRs, it's just over 3 points at the moment. So with a tick above and a tick below, you're looking at 3.5 points. Now, if you do, say, 5 trades, if you win 5 trades in a row, scalping a point, you're 5 points up. So if you lose, say, your 6th one, 5 points up minus commissions. If you lose your 6th one and you lose a 3.5 point bar with a point above and a point below, that's 4 points. So taking away your commissions, you've more or less wiped all your 5 trades out. And that for me was just heartbreaking. You know, you do 5 trades, you expect then to be up, but you do your 6th one and it almost wipes out all 5 of your winning trades, which is just heartbreaking. I think the market's changed since Max started this. I think I've looked, and I know his videos are going back 12, 13 years now, so I'm assuming when he put all this strategy in place, bars were a lot smaller, but they just seem to be getting bigger and bigger lately. I suppose there's a lot more money flowing through the S&P 500 than there's ever been. I suppose there's more and more people are doing what we're doing. You can trade now literally from a computer in your front room. All you need is a computer and internet connection, which every family's got nowadays, so anybody can literally try. Yeah, Bran, I've looked into, I've thought about trading more accounts, but I think the issue is a lot of people. I see some people running 10 accounts, and they're blowing them. I hear people saying, "I've blown my accounts. I've blown my accounts." I don't see the point in having 5 or 10 accounts and using trade copy, because all you're doing is literally you're literally. You do a bad trade and you're literally copying that trade onto the rest of your accounts, and you're blowing multiple accounts in one. For me, if I can manage to make some money on one account, then I'll invest some of that money back and then maybe have a few more accounts so I can, maybe make a bit more money and spread the risk a bit. But for me, I just tend to concentrate on one. I'm messing bad enough on one, to be honest with you. It's my patience seem to get the best of me, really. But hence live streaming, that's what I want to do this for a bit. So ordinarily, when I lost that trade, that quite possibly would have caused me to jump in there and maybe try and get it back quickly. But the fact that there's a few people watching, you're less likely to make a cock up, really. So that's my thought behind it. Is the picture on the live stream okay? If somebody will just pop a comment on. Yeah, market's performing as usual lately. No real idea what the hell's going on. Start with a bit of an uptrend, now we've come down, so we seem to be in a bit of a range, but I don't know if anybody's noticed. Yes, fine, great. Thanks, Brad. I don't know if people have noticed that, you know, when I started this 18 months ago and you had a sort of a range day, it go up to the top and you literally short the top, come down the bottom, you buy the bottom. But now a range day, it's just every time it goes up, it seems to hit a different place. It's so hard to read. Arvin, I've spoken to you once or twice before over the last 18 months, probably closer to when I started trading. In fact, you give me some good advice, if I remember rightly, once or twice. Also, what I'm trying to do is slow down the amount of trades I do. I take way too many trades. I want to really concentrate those. And if you watch, I know Marco does, because I think Mac does his chart session Monday to Thursday, and Marco does one now on a Friday. And I get quite a lot of value from Marco's actually. And the thing I like about Marco is very, very black and white. It's either a good trade or it's not a good trade. If you listen to him talk through, you've been trading for about 2 years. Yeah, if you listen to Marco trade through, he's very black and white. He's very robotic, hence why he's good at it. I actually really enjoy and I get a lot of value from his analysis. For him, it's black or white. Yes, it's a good trade, or no, it's not. And I'm trying to be a little bit more that myself. I'm trying to sit back a little bit and watch and wait for that perfect moment. Is anybody still going through evaluations, or is anybody actually making any money? Making any money yet? We've got no news today, so that's one thing. I remember when I started probably 18 months ago, I traded through the news once. And I think I had a 2-point stop, and it went straight through my 2-point stop and took me out at about 5 points actually, so I learned pretty quick there. Did you? Which, what, the fell's second entry to go long? I'm assuming that one, did you? That one there, was it? Or one of those? I know the EMIs, the micros perform a little bit different, don't they? I think your chart's probably a little bit different. Still surprises me how different people's charts are. I mean, you couldn't copy someone doing this if you wanted to, could you? I don't think you could copy a guy who sat right next to you, because your charts can be so different sometimes. I think my wife's due home from work about now, so you may hear some barking in the background. We've got a couple of dogs who tend to go a bit mental. Went short and lost 1 tick. Oh, you can live with 1 tick. So what are we doing now? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's quite messy so far. Oh, does it really? That's pretty good, actually. We're still looking for a new low here, are we, do you think? Or are we moving back up again? So much of the day it's just not clear, is it? Yeah, as you can see, I'm doing 2 contracts, I am. So my loss so far is about $383. So I can afford to lose about 6 trades in a row before I blow my account. Now, if you're trading properly, there's no way doing this style you should lose 6 in a row. I know some people say, oh, you're trading too much, but I don't know, we all make our own decisions, don't we? We all decide what's best for us. I tend to rush things a little bit. I'm always a bit of a... I tend to try and run before I can walk. But if you're trading right, it shouldn't really make a difference. You should be able to do just fine trading 2 contracts on a $50,000 account. In fact, I tend to watch the Panda guy now and again, purely and simply because I think, well, trading can be quite a lonely old existence. And I was watching him doing his 24-hour stream, and he was doing $300,000 evaluations, and I saw him blow about 5 in one day. So I'm not quite sure what he's doing, really. I noticed on his screen, I think the last time I watched a couple of days ago, he put down 15th attempt. So he's either getting free evaluations or he's got money to burn, I think. Arvin, fear as in being frightened to pull the trigger? Is that what you mean? Yeah, sim's definitely the way to go, isn't it? I think you've got to sort of learn your craft on a sim, haven't you? But I think ultimately there's nothing quite like trading when you've got risk involved. That sort of brings on a whole new meaning. That does. Obviously you get, when you're trading on a sim, you get no emotions whatsoever. And I think the trouble with sims sometimes is it doesn't give you that sort of reality of having risk. And I see there was a guy I used to watch. Yeah, there was a guy I used to watch. I forget his name. Wilson. And he used to trade a hell of a lot of contracts, and everyone sort of believed he was trading live money. It turns out he was trading on a demo, but he did really well on a demo. He seemed to just, his trading was brilliant. And then he started doing some evaluations and just kept failing the evaluation. So I don't quite know what he was doing, but I know he gave everyone the impression that, or we just automatically took the impression that he was trading live, but he seemed really good at it. And then when he started to go on evaluations, and obviously you got risk involved, it just seemed to fall apart. It just goes to show you the pressure of trading and the psychological effect it has on you. Oh, where's that come from? Get rid of. Why is that not going? Still no real clear message on where we're going. We still seem to be, we've gone up a bit there, we've gone up a bit there, we come down. We seem to be sort of with having upward buyers so far, but I noticed yesterday when I did some trading yesterday, there was very, very little movement in the market. It almost looked like a half a day's trading. I don't know whether people had days off or because of whether there's some traders off this week because of Thanksgiving. I'm assuming something must happen. Yeah, he did. That's it. V. Wilson. He did, but he seemed to do really well. And I know when there was a lot of talk about, because somebody mentioned, I think I put a comment once about that he lost 15 grand in one trade, and someone said, "Oh, you shouldn't pick," and all this. I wasn't picking. I was amazed how much he was trading. And then somebody harped up and said he'd made $1 million last year. So I think everybody thought. But then he started doing evaluations all of a sudden, and I think he made a comment then that he was only doing on a demo. But I gotta say, he did brilliantly he did trade aggressively, but he seemed to make some serious money. It's just a shame it was on a demo account. I don't think I've seen him around lately either. Whether he's, I don't know what he's doing. I think I may have to adopt some background music at some point. So I suppose I'm pretty sure, Alvin, you're in the US, aren't you? I think most of you are probably in the US, so it's early morning out there. Thing I like about trading the ES, I don't need to get up till 2:30 in the afternoon. It's coming up 3 o'clock in the UK here, so it's ideal for me.
Order submitted.
What to do? No, I'm going to sit out this one, I think. I'm just looking at that one. Still seems to be working up, actually. I probably don't want to be going...
Order cancelled.
I don't think I want to be going short just yet. It's 11 a.m. where you are. 11. So you're 4 hours behind me. Mind you, we've just come back. We came back an hour at the end of October. So I'm assuming you're on the East Coast somewhere. I think the East Coast of the US is usually around about 5 hours behind us. Your East Coast, 10 a.m. So if it's 10 a.m, Arvin, you're in the middle of the Atlantic. If it's 11 o'clock, I'm not sure where you are. I'm trying to pronounce your name there. Aush. Low Truss. Yeah. Oh, you're Asia. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Got you. Oh, you're 11 at night. Oh, God, you have got it tough. So I suppose you try. I could have sworn you were from the US. No? Yeah, we do seem to have a bit of an upward bias. Yeah, you just can't trade this at the moment, really. I think that was probably our best option so far. I think that was a great trade. That was a perler. I do love these trades where it pushes right the way below the EMA and it hugs nice and tightly on the main top of the body. That, I think, yeah, that was just after the market opened. No, see, what I did is about 6 months ago, I decided to change jobs to give me more time to trade. So I actually now work Friday, Saturday, Sundays and Mondays. And I have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, so I tend to trade those 3 days. Part of the reason. I knew this is something that I wanted to do, and I've been absolutely passionate about it for the last 2 years. But you know, it's really difficult. Am I Southern UK? Always trying to guess accents. I'm actually from Shropshire, which is West Midlands. Now I live in a little town called Shrewsbury. Now, you probably know a famous guy who lived in Shrewsbury and went to school in Shrewsbury, Charles Darwin. Now, when I used to work in the town centre and I used to walk past his school every day. It's our library now, and the top floor was where Charles Darwin went to school, and he sort of grew up and was brought up in Shrewsbury. So where I live, Shrewsbury is very sort of has the emphasis for tourists on Charles Darwin. And if you go up into the top of the library, which was the classroom there, you've got like oak benches all the way, which is sort of screwed to the sides of the walls. And you've got scratched in names from 1750 and 1820 and, you know, all the, you know, sort of 200, 300, 400 years old. It's quite a fascinating place to be, actually. A lot of history in Shrewsbury. And his school is right opposite a castle. Literally 50 yards over the road, we have a castle as well. So we've got some great history in Shrewsbury. A lot of black and white Tudor buildings. So, yeah, Southern UK. I'm probably, if you look at Birmingham, which is quite central, I'm west of Birmingham, about 50 miles. But I did spend some time south. I lived in Winchester for a couple of years. That's as sort of south as I've been. That's about 30 miles off the south coast, north off the south coast. Yeah, it's weird though. I used to walk past there every day, and sometimes you take these things for granted that you're walking past the castle, which is about 800 years old. But you tend to, you know, you get people coming from all over the country and all over the world to see the castle. And it's weird when you live here, you don't really pay much attention to it. But I know we got a really rich history here in the UK, and I suppose you take it for granted when you live. You know, you live here. We tend to, when we go on holiday, we want to try and get out of the country. I think our issue is the weather. Weather's pretty poor. Lots of rain. Gets pretty cold in the winter. We have quite a wettish summer. Mind you, we had a great summer this year. I think we hit 41 degrees, which was a record for us. That was shocking. So what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Are we slowly moving up? Or are we going to bounce off this top? Are we going to bounce? I've just stopped taking tops now. I used to pick tops and they just, half the time they trigger and come out, stop you out. So I tend to not like taking them unless we get obviously a few bounces. Having said that, we have had 2 legs up, haven't we? Yeah, we certainly seem to be in a bit of a range so far. Yeah, I did look at that. It's an inside bar, isn't it? And we've only really hit this top once before. And we do seem to be moving upwards, so I don't really want a short at the moment. Yeah, it does seem to be a bit of an uptrend, doesn't it? A larger uptrend. It doesn't seem to fit anywhere really though at the moment, does it? Even if we go from here. Okay, that's not too bad actually. That's not too bad. You could go to the top there, but at least that gives us a little bit of direction. Let's get rid of that. And we got yesterday's high here as well, so that tends to pull us up as well. Yeah, it's certainly following this line, isn't it? We start here, if we can come down again. Yeah, bullish imbalance for sure, yeah. You know, when I first started this, I did 6 months, 6 months currency, and then eventually came to this, and I saw it was the 2 guys that used to trade, 2 guys from the US. I forget the names now. They got me into this. The trouble is with currency, I was looking at multiple monitors, multiple screens, multiple time frames, and you seem to be forever searching through different charts, whereas this I like because you're just trading one chart, one time frame, and that's it. So this really suits me. But I gotta say, you get some. I know when I first started trading this 18 months ago, at the time I don't know, for a week or two we seemed to have a really nice slow uptrend, and I was just almost winning every trade every time I come back to the EMA, and I was just going along, and I think I did it for about 2 weeks and on a demo and seemed to do really well. So I thought, this is easy. So I think come Friday I drove to work and decided that was it. I was quitting. So I I quit my job, literally came home, stuck about £3,000 into the account, and just started losing. It was quite weird. And I got to say, at that time, I thought this is easy, but I did have that little voice in the back of my head saying it can't be this easy, surely. And God, how right was I? Out of all the things I've learned, I'm 53 years old now, so I've had a lot of time on this planet. Out of all the things I've learned, this is by far the hardest. Not so much reading the markets. I mean, most of us by now, most of us by now, know what a good trade is. But it's having the patience to sit there and wait for those couple of real beauties in a day. And just now and again, you sort of have a moment of real patience and you sit there and you wait for them and you take them and they're just beautiful. It's a great feeling when they happen. But then sometimes you get other days like this where it just doesn't seem to make much sense. But I literally threw my job away. I came home to my wife and went, that's it, I've jacked my job in. I'm going to be a trader. And I think I put £3,000 in. I think the first 2 trades I lost, I couldn't believe it. I felt physically sick. And I've been sort of pumping bits of money into it on a regular basis ever since. And I think that's part of it. There's no way around putting money into it. You have to have risk. You have to have those emotions on a regular basis to be able to get used to them and to be able to manage them. There's no way around it, really. I don't think I've spoken to a trader yet who says they haven't pumped a ton of money into it. There's no way around it, really. You've got to experience the risk. You've got to experience the emotions, and the only way to do that is to put some money in. Whether you do it I tend to just do evaluations now. They last a bit longer, and I think this one cost me the equivalent of about £29, $33, so it's not a lot of money, really. And even if I mess the account up in a couple of 3 days, it's much better to mess that up than to chuck some of my own money in, a chunk of my own money in. I just wish you could speed the market up at this point. Yeah, we certainly got a bit of an uptrend there, haven't we? In one form or another. Yeah, is it Bull and Ox? I've heard quite a lot about them lately. I'm going to have a little look into them. I suppose they're all very... So I do like Apex for the simple fact that they seem to abolish one rule lately. I saw a post of a guy who had $18,000 in his account and he accidentally left a trade open. Now, I don't know how he did that. If I've got a trade and I close down Ninja Trade, it'll tell me that I've got a trade open and it'll give me the option to shut it down. So I don't know how that happened, but he lost $18,000. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'll be physically sick if that happened. And, excuse me, I know he put a post on, and I think a week later, Daryl, the Apex trader guy, put a post on saying that he'd now programmed into their system so it'd get auto liquidated just before the market. So there's no rules with Apex that would accidentally catch you out now. You can trade through the news. You can't now get your trade shut down. You can't lose your account if you've got any trades left open. You can't accidentally trade too many contracts. So there's, apart from actually physically blowing your account, there's no rule that can accidentally trip you up. So that's why I like Apex. You do get some good positive stuff out of them, but I am hearing quite a bit about that. I have to be careful how I say that. Bollonox. I'm hearing more and more about them. I did start on Earn to Trade. I think that was the first one I did, which was quite pricey if I remember rightly. But I do like Apex's pricing scheme now. They do when they have this 80% more often now. Usually seems to be once a month there's something. And I do like that. I can deal with throwing away 29 quid. You can't have a night out with your mates for £29 nowadays, so it's not a lot to risk. Market is really slow at the moment. I'm assuming there must be some traders off this week because of Thanksgiving. I think that's why things are a little bit quiet. So if I look at yesterday's chart, there wasn't a huge amount, not a huge amount of volume. Day before there wasn't either. Yeah, there's got to be some people off because of Thanksgiving. Yeah, institutions. Yeah, that's where all the volume is. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Do we need them? Okay, so I'm looking for longs really. We've got one push down, I'm out for another push down and maybe something around about here. See, the only downside is we have got an upward bias, but this also could be a breakout from this range. I don't think it is, but it's possible. So if I'm looking to go long, it might come back into this range, but it is being held by the bottom of this channel here. Bullanox, you pay an activation fee and no monthly. I like that if you're making money out of them. But I think about 95% of us aren't even getting to the stage where we get to the next month. I think I've probably done maybe six or seven PA accounts, and I think 6 days is the longest I've gone. So I've not even got over to that second month of payment yet.
Order
Let's
submitted.
just put one ready. Possible second entry. The thing is, when we have quite steep down here, steep push down here, I like it to come through the EMA and then pop back above it really. So what would you say there's a trend? We've had a bit of a break out of it and a new low. Yeah. Bit of a trend here, we've had a break. And a new low or equal. I think it is a new low by one tick, isn't it? Okay. And what if there's going to be some shorts here, thinking that's a trade. Thinking that's a range, sorry. Yeah, if there's some traders thinking this is a range, this is a failed breakout of a range. Maybe coming back into it. But to me, there's an upward bias. So I think were more of an uptrend than a range. But I think there's probably some confusion as to whether we are going up, whether we're in a range with this little bit of sometimes when we're confused, are we going up, are we coming down? Everybody else seems to, by the way we have some sideways movement, which looks like we may be having. It's also yesterday's high as well. So if we come up, broke through it, and we're bouncing off the bottom side of it, and then back into the range. Does look like an uptrend to me, of some form. Yeah, there's definitely confusion there. Are we going up? Are we going down? Yeah, without having the institutional guys, it's definitely slower today, isn't it? It's definitely starting to look watching paint dry. It's almost like the end of the day, isn't it?
Order cancelled.
First entry, second entry. So that's a failed second entry long, but it's just you can't really do anything with that, really, can you? It's above the EMA and it is going sideways. Are we going up? Are we coming back into the range? Who knows? I've got a clue. Not a clue. This is where patience comes into it. This is the bit I lack. I got to say, sometimes you trade and everything just seems so good. Everything works well. You just seem to take... I mean, I think it was a week and a half ago. In the first 45 minutes, I had 3 beautiful trades. Textbook, they work beautiful. And then other times, yeah, you got to sit on your hands. And it just... I think when you're used to... Because trading is quite fast moving, isn't it? Usually, when the institutional guys are in, it's quite fast moving. You've got to think quick. And I kind of like that way of working. But when you have days where markets are quieter, you do seem a little bit out of sorts. See, that looks like a great place to go long, but with all this sideways movement, you just can't do it, can you? I love those trades where the bar ends like this, nice and tight above there. Pretty bullish. And it might quite likely go higher, but I don't know. We've had one push down here. Maybe we're having a pull back and another pull down. We might come down to the bottom of this trade channel. We may come back into the range if it is a range. But there's too much sideways movement here. I've given up doing these if I can. They just don't work for me. There's nothing to take in there really, is there? See if we can get a lower high. I mean, that has worked really well, hasn't it? But you can't take these. The sensible thing is to leave these alone. No, exactly. Congestion, it's just not worth it. I don't know how many times I've traded during congestion and you just end up getting frustrated. I think really, and it takes a long time to learn this for some reason. I know when you're kids, your parents say, don't do this, don't do that, and you never seem to listen. And then when you sort of become an adult, if someone says this is a good way of doing it, you tend to listen. But for some reason, trading just has the complete opposite reaction. I don't know how many thousands of times I've read dozens and dozens of books. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, just wait for a good trade, just wait for a good trade. And we seem to screw it up monumentally for some reason. And then when you have a day of clarity and you wait for those perfect trades, everything works. So why don't we sort of hold on to that? I don't know. Trading has a funny way of screwing your brain out. Yeah, absolutely. Once they start stacking up, you just got to leave it. The sensible thing. At the end of the day, we're all striving to be sensible and make sensible decisions. Doesn't always work, but we're all trying to aim for that side of it. Aim for the sort of perfection, aren't we? If it's going sideways, leave it alone. Ultimately, I mean, if you could sit here patiently throughout the day, maybe, I don't know, a few hours, and take 2 of the most perfect trades a day, you're going to win every time and you're going to make a ton of money. I mean, we all know how much money there is to be made in trading, but sometimes it's so hard to just hold on to that patience, isn't it? And just leave the crap alone and just take those 1 or 2 good trades. Something just seems to sort of make us go a bit stupid. Yeah. I'll have a look at the last bar. Yeah. Momentum, how they can. I've watched a little bit of who's that other guy, the older chap, the thin on top guy. What's his name? He's been trading for years, price action trader. I forget his name now. And he looks at it quite different, and he seems to do well. So I tend to look at what he's doing and sort of try and get an idea what's going through his head when he takes the trades. Yeah, see that bar I mentioned there was in a good place to go long, and it turned out long really, really well. But the trouble is with this, you just can't do nothing, can you? Really messy day today. getting some movement. Now we've come into... Are we coming down to the bottom of this? Or are we coming into the range? Yeah, it's so hard to work out what's going on, isn't it? See, if we're looking at this thinking we need to sit on our hands, who the hell's trading? Right, excuse me for about 5 minutes. I'm going to nip downstairs and make myself a quick coffee and bring it back up. I'll be back with you in about 5. Okay, back with caffeine. So we still don't really know what we're doing, do we? Oh, you got 2 scalps. Oh, well done. Good on you. Good on you. Captain Kirk. That's a name I've grown up with. Where am I? London? No, I live in. I'm in Shropshire, which is a little town called Shrewsbury in Shropshire, which is West Midlands. So if you look at Birmingham on a UK map and go west about 50 miles, and a little town called Shrewsbury, famously where Charles Darwin's from. I don't know him. Never met him. London from here is about 175 miles. So we seem to be having a little bit of a range here. So we got first entry. Maybe take a long off the bottom. I don't know. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? I suppose the sensible thing to do is while we're going sideways, and are we coming back into a range? Are we moving back up? What do we do? What do you do? It seems to be. I've got to say, it seems to be more and more that I watch the markets in a day, and they seem to be very messy. They're up, they're down, they're bouncing all over the place. Every time they go up, they're at a different level. Every time they come down, they're hitting a different level. There does seem to be a bit of resistance at the bottom here. Did he really? Did he? Was it in one of his videos? It might have been. I usually, because Mac puts his videos out, it's usually around about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning here in the UK. And I most of the time I watch it. Sometimes if I get up in the night and can't sleep, I'll jump on my computer and watch his. In fact, I probably do it most nights actually. I'll watch his analysis for the day. I never heard that. I must have missed that. But to be honest with you, it seems to do this a lot lately. It bounces all over the place. But it is this bottom trend line. It's started here. It's held here. It seems to be holding here, so that's positive. So even if we can get a slow, steady move up, it makes it just a little bit more easier that we know we're looking to take longs. I suppose that's one of the better things about trading currency is there's so many different multiple pairs. You just got to find the weak currency against the strong currency. Voila, you've got a trend. But it does seem to be when I first started trading currency, it just does seem to be constantly screens everywhere, multiple currency pairs, multiple time frames. I do love the fact that you can trade this on a laptop if you want. See, that is a second entry. I'm really tempted to take that because
Order
we
submitted.
do seem to be holding here. Yeah, I should have done, shouldn't I? See if we can get a bit of a If we can get a lower high. Yeah, I was tempted to take that then. See if we can get a lower high. Or a higher low rather. But there we have first entry, second entry, fell, second entry, which is triggered. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be some short strap there.
Order filled.
I think there's going to be some short strap there. No, I don't want to take it down that long, do I? It's real messy, isn't it? It's real messy. That better. Okay, this could be a higher low, and that would give me a little bit more confidence in this trade. I'm hoping now we've been going sideways for a while, we might get a big push up or a half decent push up. I'm just hoping this one finishes nice and polished, and that's a lower high or a higher low, or I can't think. Just thinking, there's going to be some people in this trade, I'd say. I'm tempted to push it up a little bit higher and then move my stop up. I think we're due for a good push up. Just see if I can get myself back in the green. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Bottom of the trend. So I'm hoping now we get a good push up, which is why I've moved my my profit target up. I tend to not do broken trades where I scalp a certain amount and then I've started just doing things like this. It tends to work a bit better for me, I think. Now, if we can push above this red candle, we might get a nice bit of a push there, because I would say there's going to be some shorts in that trade, because we went up again. I'd say there's going to be some shorts in that trade. There we go. There we go. Now I'm going to
Stop filled.
Okay. Now the reason I did that, sometimes it'll break out the top and then it'll come straight back in. We've touched these areas, see, so I don't know whether we're going to get a bit of a pullback. So at least I'm now out of the red and in the green, so that's positive. Okay, maybe I should have been a bit more patient, but I'm pleased with that. Okay, so we're back, we're in the green anyway. So that's positive, $33. So that's the good thing about trading a little bit more than 1 point or 2 points. At least one loss can then be corrected by one win. So I'm pleased with that. So at least we seem to have identified that we've got a bit of an uptrend. So I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, okay, that looks better. It's quite uncanny sometimes, isn't it? How it'll start here. It'll sit perfectly there. It sat perfectly there. I did think we're going to have a bit of a push out, and I think we're going to come right up here somewhere. But I think I was that pleased to get rid of that bad trade and get in the green. But I know sometimes when you get sort of an area like this, it'll break off quick and then it'll come back. And sometimes if you're not quick enough with your stop. But at least we're back on a positive note. So we've got 10 viewers for my first stream, so I'm really pleased with that. I want to thank everybody that's watching, because that's helping me. That first trade that I lost, I'd say the chance of me jumping back in impatiently and taking another trade was highly likely, but I didn't do that. The fact that I've got people watching and people tuned in. I think if you've got people looking over your shoulder, you're less likely, you know, it's like anything we do in our life, isn't it? If you've got somebody watching, you tend to do a better job. So this feels quite positive for me, so I'm really pleased. So I appreciate everybody that's listening in. Bran, oh, well done. 4 contracts, 4 points. Cracking, well done. I think I got about 4. Was it 4? Just under 4 points, I think. Yes, a Presno, yes, 2,000 tick. So each one of these bars represent 2,000 trades. Well done, Brant. 4 contracts, nice. Are you on an evaluation, or are you on a demo, or are you on? Is that your own account? Are you on eval? Oh, well done, Ahmed. Yeah, well done. This is another eval. Pass one earlier. 350 from passing this one today. Oh, good on you, mate. Well done. I got to say, I love hearing about people doing well, because that gives me that little push. I know somebody put a post on one of the, I think one of the Facebook sites, saying he won X amount of money and he got slated for it. Well, I love it. I love hearing about people doing well, because the more people that do well, the more chance I'm going to do well, because I'm realising that there are, you know, sometimes this to be able to be successful at trading, sometimes when you're having it bad seems impossible. But I love hearing about other people doing well. I get a real kick out of it. You don't trade your personal cash. I don't blame you, mate. I think if you're on Apex or any other evaluation, you're on a P account and you're making some good money. I say 10,000 plus a month. Then I think you'll know if you're making regular money, you're comfortable in your ability. You may then move on to a live account. You'll take the money because if you're making £10,000 or £20,000 a month, you may not want to be giving 10% of it away to the likes of Apex. So, but no, I love if any of you guys have done really well or you're making serious money, I love hearing about it. It gives me some inspiration because I put so many hours into this. There's never a day goes by where I don't read something, look at someone else's analysis, look at someone else's chart, compare my chart. In fact, Arvin, I used to compare my chart to yours when I first started 18 months ago. There's never a day goes by where I've got trading in my head. It's always at the forefront of my head. So I just love the fact that I don't need to go out and work in the cold, or I don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I can control my own life. The job that I was doing when we went into lockdown, I ended up losing work. Doesn't matter if you're a trader. In fact, it doesn't matter what's happening. If you're a trader, it doesn't matter what the markets are doing. The markets could be booming, the markets could be crashing. It makes no difference to a trader. We just follow the market. And I dream about making my own money from home. No one telling me what to do. If you get hurt at work or you feel ill, you can easily sit at a desk. I know in the past I've been ill and I've still managed to trade. I just love the fact you make your own life, you make your own rules, you make your own trading hours. It's such an attractive thing, which is, I suppose, why more and more people try to do it. And hats off to them. Just so glad to be back in the green and out the red. It doesn't look good, does it? Your first live stream, first trade, and you've lost it. Okay, we've come back to the EMA here. Ahmed, is that question to me? Is it how long have I've been trading 2 years? I don't know whether that question was to me or was it to Brandt. I'm not consistently profitable at all. I'm still going through the stage of failing evaluations personally. I'm still learning to manage the emotions, and I think that's the key. But I've been trading 2 years. I did a 6-month mentorship with a guy called Andrew Lockwood, who was a pit trader in the 80s in the UK, and I did 6 months with him. So that's sort of my story, and then I started trading this style 18 months ago. It's tempting to go for that one there. It's a very small risk, isn't it? I bet that's probably only about, what is it, 84, 85, it's 1.25, that is. But I'm guessing, judging by that, we've had a break new high. Are we coming back to here, or are we coming back to here? Might have been worth the risk, that. There you go. If you took that trade, you might have done quite well out of it. That is a small bar, very small. I was tempted to take that, but I'm trying to be a little bit patient. And I'm just so glad to get out the red and in the green that I thought, I lost my bottle a little bit. You certainly would have got 3 points out of that. What am I doing? 2.5 points. What is there? There's about 3.5 points to the high. I'd have probably only got up to about here anyway, 2 points, but considering the risk. Yeah, signal bars bigger than 4 points. Yeah, I try and 4 points is what I usually look at as well. So unless I think it's a beauty, I'll take it. But otherwise, if I think it's an okay, what I tend to do then is put a limit order in maybe a third of the way down, so I've reduced the risk to about 3 points or 2.5 points. Otherwise, you won't really see me take. I see so many people trading longs on an uptrend like this using limit orders, and I see them wait for it to tick above. They drop a limit order in, and it takes off without. And I see Thomas Wade doing that quite often, and I don't quite understand why people don't use just regular sort of market orders, or just a regular sort of buy order. Trouble is, if this is a signal bar and I'm waiting for it to tick above and I drop my order in and it starts to move off without me, then I've missed out on the trade. Yeah, I see Thomas Wade doing that sometimes, but he's if it works for him, he's way out of my league. He's way more experienced than me. Yeah, if you watch Thomas Wade, very, very placid nature. I think he's got the ideal temperament for trading. Very calm and collective, which is the same as Marco as well. I wish I was a little bit more robotic. One in 10. Okay, yeah, so that works. I suppose the thing about limit order is I see people, they tend to hold a limit order at the top of the bar, wait for it to tick above and drop it. So you've reduced, I suppose, your risk by a tick. But I don't know, I'm not 100% sure of the benefits of a limit order if you're just taking a normal trade. I only tend to take them if I want to, say I want to reduce the risk. Otherwise, I just tend to take a normal market stop order. But some people that's all they use. If we get a good bullish bar here, I might take one.
Order submitted.
It's a second entry. If we can get above that EMA and end up being nicely bullish, I might take that. Are we lucky? Are we going to be lucky? And I'm just going to ride it to the top, as it's come nicely now back to the EMA and almost the bottom of the range. No, see, they call that a doji, but to me, on someone else's chart, that might tick one or two higher. That might be quite bullish. On some charts that I watch, sometimes that will look like not a great trade, but on other people's trade, that'll be quite bullish. Let's see if it does trigger and take, but it is under the EMA on my chart, and I suppose you've only got I've only ever heard Max say just trade your own chart, but it is a second entry. And it is at the EMA, but the EMA's gone a bit flat, but we are at the bottom of the range there. And if we are generally trading upwards, which we seem to. So we've had this push up here, and then with some sideways movement. Usually, in a lot of cases, that's finished off by another push up. So we almost get a mirror image. So whenever we come back to the EMA, then we just tend to shoot off. Which I think we're going to do personally, because we're at the bottom of this little range here. We're right on the EMA and we're at the bottom of this trend. So it's tempting to put something above this, but I'm going to hold back and leave it alone, because as the rules say, it's got to be a bullish bar, and really on my chart it's not. Yeah, Arvin, I see what you mean. Yeah, I've lost many trades like that. Many trades like that. It's quite gutting, isn't it? So yeah, sometimes I suppose it's good to let it go up a tick or two. Some trades I do. If I decide to leave something, I'll see how it moves. If it goes up a little bit, comes back a bit, and then starts to push its way back up again, and doesn't hit the bottom, I may get involved. But Brant, yeah, it is fizzling out a bit, isn't it? But you just don't know, do you? You never know. Markets never fail to surprise you. See what I mean about this? This push up here and some sideways movement, another push up. We had sort of the same here. We pushed up, a little bit of side come down. We've pushed up again. We tend to make a. You do get used to noticing patterns, don't you? But I suppose it depends how strong this market is. I suppose the beauty about this area here is sellers are going to think, ooh, is it worth going short? Which then might be overpowered by the buyers, and it will push it up. Because it really has bounced off every bit of this bottom of this trade. Yeah, the trouble is at the moment I've got three screens and they're all taken up, but I usually do have the 10,000 tick chart. I've got my YouTube up, which is my stream, and I've got my Streamlabs above recording this. But I usually have the 10,000 tick chart just to give me a little bit of confirmation. It's very strong. When you say strong, you mean it's pushing everything? Yeah, it's pushing everything back, isn't it? Yeah. 10 more points to move to that measured move. Yeah, see, I'd expect to see that, but who knows if it is fizzling out. It's certainly going quite sideways. We've had a bit of a push up. Maybe it might fizzle out. Maybe it might just drop out the bottom. If we can get a push above here, which we have, I'm looking for a higher low. Because I do think it will push up. Well, that's what I'm expecting it to do. That's about my best guess at the moment. It's tempting to go here, isn't it? But it's doing its sideways thing again, isn't it? And the trouble is, when it's doing its sideways thing, you've got buyers and sellers. Do we go up? Do we go down? There's a little bit of uncertainty. So it's 50-50 really which way can go up. Probably slightly more on the air of bullish because of the upward bias. But I'm not just confident just yet. It could quite easily, if you've got your stop down here, that could quite easily come down and stop you out and then end up pushing back up. God, it's slow, isn't it? We do seem to be getting some upward movement there. That's what I'm expecting, but you've really got to wait for a higher low really to be sure. If that bar there had ticked below here, then I might be a little bit more interested. See, it is moving up, but it's moving up slowly, isn't it? So there's still some uncertainty. So tempting, isn't it, just to jump in here and thinking if we are going to have a measured move, we're only around about here. I'm hoping we get a higher low here. Yeah. If we can get oh, you took it. Oh, well done. So I'm assuming you're in it, are you? Did you take above this bar? 6. Oh, well done. Good on you. I like that a little bit closer to that. Let's have a little look. See if this market's going to continue up. I think it's going to do it about now, isn't it? But are we going to have a bit of a weak pullback and come back to the tops here? I might be looking for 6 ticks. 6 ticks with you, bud. It's very stalling, isn't it? It's still sideways. It's really stalling a bit. Yeah, it's tempting this, but I prefer the body of it a little bit closer. It just doesn't seem strong enough for me. Kind of hope it doesn't end bullish. Yeah. Now if we can get a bit of a pull down here and end up bullish, then I'll take that. But it does seem to be sloping down, doesn't it? But it is still being held by this, the bottom of this channel. If we can get a push down now, followed by a nice bullish bar, I'll take that then. Very slow today. Very slow. See, we've got this new high here. Try to go once, try to go twice. I'm just wondering if there's going to be some shorts there. So if this finishes... Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's... Oh, crikey. Okay, are people going to treat this as a failed breakout? Or do they think we've fizzled out this enough and we're starting to move down? I suppose we'll soon find out if it just tanks and drops out the bottom, which it looks like it may do. Certainly losing momentum. See, I've been caught out with these before. I tend to not try and take them really. Now we've had a clear trend in. We've broken out of it, which also we've had a range here. So usually when you break out from the range, you'll break out from the bottom of the channel. Then we move back into it. But would you take that one or not? That's quite a chunk out, isn't it? I think the sensible thing to do is to miss that one. Ooh, what do we do? No, I'm going to take that. We've broken out this range. We've broken out this channel. I think we're going to move back up into it. Or certainly retest it. It's a 13-point risk. So it's 3 points and a tick. Tick above it, tick below it. It's just over 3.5 points.
Order filled.
I'm starting to lose my confidence in this. I'm starting to lose my confidence. Come on, baby. Up you get. Seems to be struggling a bit there. Come on, a bit more. Come on, one more tick. There we go. I'm just not risking it now.
Stop filled.
Okay, what do we get there? Okay, I'm pleased with that. At least we're back nicely in the green now. What did I take there? I don't know, it's just struggling. Whether we're coming back and retesting this or pushing hard, I don't know. At least we're back here, so I'd rather lose an extra couple of ticks and guarantee myself something. So, where do we go? What did I add? I'll tell you what. What do we get? 7, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 points. That'll do, mate. I took the same. Well done, Brant. Good on you, mate. They make me nervous a bit, those, but I'm just trying to think logically. And we're in an uptrend. We've had a break of an uptrend. Most breakouts fail. So that's 1 point to go higher. We're also being a bit of a range, a little bit of a sideways range here. We've had a breakout from that, and most breakouts fail, so that's another reason. So I know sometimes you just gotta read it by the rules, haven't you? You've got to read it by the rules. So plus 3 points. Can't remember the other trades I took now. I'll have to mark those later. Yeah, we broke out of this, and it doesn't get any more bullish than that. Now where are we gonna go? We're gonna stop here, and we're gonna come back down. Who knows? Now, I said when I started this, I need to stick to some rules which I'm going to follow, so I'm limiting myself to 3 trades maximum a day. So what have we taken? We've had a loss and we've had 2 wins, haven't we? So I may finish it there. What time is it now? We've been going on for 2 hours now. So I don't know. Does anybody limit their amount of trades they take in a day? I suppose if you're patient and things are going well, does that mean you can stay a little bit longer? Who knows? I know it's slow today, isn't it? I've got to say. But the good thing about trading 1-to-1 is I won 2 and lost 1, but I'm up $325 after fees. So, oh God, I remember the days of scalping for 1 point. That was heartbreaking. That was. I'm so glad I changed. I'm so glad I changed. Yeah, in fact, I think I'm going to knock it on the head there, actually. I'm pleased to be in the green. First day's gone successful. So I'm going to trade here again tomorrow from around about the 9:30 mark, maybe 10 or 15 minutes early. I appreciate everyone who's commented and listened in. It's nice to have some company, and it's nice to be accountable. It definitely feels different to me. I don't want to make a stupid mistake in front of you guys. You limit yourself to right. Yeah, so 2 hours as well. Yeah, I think you tend to get a lot of your trading done. I tend to find a lot of my trading done in the first 2 hours. But if you can do that, what a great way to earn a living. 2 hours work a day. So that's it from me today. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate you guys listening. It really does help me, this. Just having some accountability. People watching over your shoulder, you tend to not want to make a cock up. So I appreciate you guys coming and having a chat. If you can subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And then if you're around tomorrow,